Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right. So, this morning I want to talk a little bit about something that I saw online. It's a therapy session here. I don't know if my point of view is something that I would hang my hat on every day of my life, but I guess it's because of what it is I've been through lately, what it is I feel like I'm going through now in life. I just have this opinion about this particular story. I just am going to give you that disclaimer before I start. So, first of all, Lord, give me the strength to say the right things about this, because it is energy shaky in the situation. You guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was a young man. I don't know how old this guy was. He's grown, probably in his late 20s actually. He was in Chicago. He walked into a restaurant and he got into it with a lady of some sort. I don't know why he was into it with her, but he was telling her, the only bit of the clip that we're able to see in the footage I saw was him telling this woman to get your food, lady, get your food. I swear for God on my grandmama, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna knock you out if you don't stop talking. Don't say nothing else. And I guess the demons in his heart brought him to a space where he was gonna hit this woman. What he didn't realize is that she had a 14-year-old son in the car, and they're in Chicago. You know the culture in Chicago, 14, 13, 10, whatever. The pole is in the pocket. So I guess if, according to what is being reported, she told her son, she texted her son to get out of the car and come to, come in the restaurant and do harm to this man with that gun. And that's exactly what that young man did. Now, from what I also understand, I read in the comments various people who said they had seen more footage somehow. Maybe they are accurate. Maybe this is hearsay, but I guess it was some ambiguity as to whether or not she actually had time to even text him that. He probably saw from within the car what was going on and got out the car and defended his mother. But it's one of them situations where they ended up chasing this man around, shot him in the back. It was more to it than what we were able to see. He ended up dying from 2 shots in the back. That might have been a little much, maybe. But once a young boy sees you, grown man, putting your hands on his mom, he ain't thinking about nothing good, and he ain't gonna react well to you. And if he has a gun, especially from the culture that he's from, that's all there is to it. We're in America, and there's something called self-defense. And in a lot of states, not the one I'm from, but in a lot of states, you have a right to shoot somebody when they're putting their hands on you. The idea of what self-defense is in this country leaves a lot of room for people to lose their lives getting hit by punches. And so in people's minds, which is accurate because I've seen enough stories like this, people getting hit not getting up, people getting hit having permanent brain damage, people getting hit breaking parts of their face, changing their entire facial structure. It happened to me. I told y'all a couple of times I got sucker punched in the face, broke my eye socket in 3 places. Not to say that to protect myself somebody should have been shot, but just to say if that would have been a worse punch, maybe it could have did worse damage. You know what I mean? So the self-defense logic is in place in this country, and a lot of people believe, hey, you up your fist, I up my gun. Like I said, I ain't prayed about this. I don't really know how my spirit feels necessarily when it comes to what the Lord thinks of this story. I really don't know, but I can tell you that my mother's no longer with me, and at 14 years old, she was everything to me. I was fearful of losing her more than I was fearful of losing anything in the world. And I can assure you, if I had a gun and someone was attacking her, my soul would have been at risk in that situation. That would have been the case. And then I just had to deal with that. And they are dealing with that because they've been arrested. Both of them, mother and son, arrested for the murder of that man. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. I don't know if I have the right stuff swirling around in my head, because we talk all the time about not allowing your energy to destroy you, and that's exactly what that ended up becoming. But at the same time, it's like, if he hit that lady square in her face more than once, as hard as he possibly could, like she was a grown man, and she didn't even have her fist up, let alone in a position to actually defend him. And her son, big enough but too small to really beat this guy because he's only 14, his body ain't built like that yet, is supposed to what? Have his gun and not use it? I don't think that's what most kids are gonna do. I don't know that most kids are gonna be able to watch their mother getting hit like that at 14 years of age. You know what I mean? I'm old enough to do something about it and got something to do something about it. And if you see the kid, you can tell he's from that era. He's from the culture. He's from Chicago. He's not one of those kids that look foreign to the situation. I'm telling you, just looking at him, this is not something you're gonna be able to do in front of him. And so that's really what it comes down to. I don't feel all that great about it. Obviously, another woman lost her son's life. You know what I mean? Another mother was mourning. So, like, homeboy did not have his head on straight. If he would have known not to ever put his hands on an elderly woman. The woman didn't even look like she should have a son that's as young as he is. They say the woman's 35. She looked older to me. She looked like she was 50. So it's like, are you sure you're going to put your hands on a woman that looks as if she's somebody's grandma? In front of a whole room full of people. Mind you, everybody saw it. And it was an elderly man standing behind her who wasn't going to stop the situation. I think he was a little too old to be trying to swing with that kid too. So it's like, ain't nobody come to that boy's mama's defense. And he got his gun in the car watching this happen. Now, maybe if the old man would have jumped in, stopped it, several other people jumped from behind the counter, stopped it. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't come in spraying the place up. But the fact that ain't nobody was able to help his mom, and he's supposed to just sit there and watch her take punches. I don't know of any child that's going to do that. Not with a gun in their car. Not a black kid, a Spanish kid, a white kid, Asian kid. You're not going to be able to put your hands on somebody's mother and not expect to lose your life. I'm just going to be honest with you. And that's another reason why I just felt like my energy wasn't in the right place necessarily to start this video. I wanted to give you that disclaimer. Because I have yet to reach a space in my heart where I am able to see him and feel sorry. I can feel sorry for the people he leaves behind. His mother, his loved ones. I'm praying for y'all just like I pray for anyone going through bereavement. And this ain't nothing easy, especially when the person who did what they did can be seen as someone who may have deserved what came their way. You know what I mean? It's hard to mourn when the whole world is telling you that your loved one asked for it. And so I hate to be another one of those people, yet another voice in that crowd. And that's why I want to tell y'all my energy wasn't right for this. Because there's much more to consider and pray for in regards to these type of stories. If you believe in the spirit like I do, the spirit of God, you don't want to just say, he deserved it and that's it. You want to say there may be something that I'm not looking at correctly, as well as everybody else who's saying, he deserved to die. It's a lot of different things that people deserve. But to die, you better be certain. Swinging fists at people, could it have killed the lady if it hit her the wrong way? Of course. Would it have killed her? Not as likely as some bullets definitely would have, you feel me, killing him. And so when you consider, I heard a story a couple days ago that was much more extreme than this, but like you're kind of going to apply the same kind of, am I sure what I'm looking at? There's a guy who came into a situation where I guess a 19-year-old boy exposed himself to that man's son, and the man came in and unalived everybody in the house. Now, clearly, that was a gone individual. Clearly, he should not have done that. It was only one person that did something to your son, and that person probably didn't necessarily deserve to die either. So that was a maniac doing way more than what the situation ever should have been called for. But that's the point. When you do certain things to certain people, you don't know the outcome. You don't know how far they're going to take it. You don't know where they're headed, their spirit at, none of that. So when you let your demons do all that they're going to do, you welcome everything that comes with it, including what happens to others. And that's what happened there. That kid did, he let his little sexual demons get him out of control, and it tumbled forward this. And this is why I always tell everybody on the channel, you don't know what comes with what. Don't do whatever just feels right. Check your mind, check your behavior. We always talk about conditioning of the mind, what we can endure, why we don't want to lash out, because it can cause these type of things that we cannot anticipate but would definitely agonize over. This is what we be talking about every day on the channel. All these therapy sessions, it leads up to trying to discipline ourselves, especially those of us who are not there well, into doing things that don't welcome anything like this in our lives. Homeboy who said, I swear on my grandmama, I'm going to hit you. That was, in my mind, when I watched that video, as I was looking at that spiritually, those were his demons telling him to do something that would ultimately usher him straight to hell. Straight up. No different than that King Von energy when he ran up to Quando Rondo punching the hell out of him. Same energy. It is self-destructive. You think it's rage. It's actually the desire to create your own demise. And you got to recognize it when you engage in that energy. When you engage in that energy. When it hits you and you say, I swear to God, I'm gonna knock you out. You are talking to the demons themselves saying, please usher me out of the earth by way of the demon that's gonna be attacking me for being this demon. That kid who walked in there 14 years old, his demons were stronger than yours. His demons were more intent on surviving the circumstances. His demons were going to take you out. And that's why you don't allow those demons on the inside to come out. Because once they do, you welcome what comes with that. And you're talking to souls that have missions to take things out. And that's why I'm telling people, you got to know what you're dealing with when you feel your own rage, when you feel your own urgency to do wrong, when you feel like going towards something that ain't good for you, eating bad foods that are ultimately going to get you killed. Look at how this tumble forward, not to say that the two should go together, but I mean, if you're not desiring to eat greasy food that's going to likely kill you, you're not even in that room in the first place to be fighting over that food in the first place to find any of this happening. All of it tumbles forward. And if we're doing things that help us love ourselves, we're more than likely not quick to anger, quick to doing self-destructive stuff, quick to even eat stuff that's going to likely kill us any damn way. This all is bad energy. No different than what I always say. If it's a banana peel, somebody's plotting against you in some weird way, you doing something you ain't got no business doing for the sake of urges or being lured into something, it's all come from the same hell that wants to snatch your soul. And we got to know how to identify those energies, identify those traits, identify those things within us that ultimately bring about our own undoing. Stuff that we don't respect as much for whatever reason, but we'll hate the consequences of later on. You know what I mean? I think about Young Thug and the situation he's going through and all of that. And I just remember some of them songs that he was singing about all the stuff that he was doing. You know, it's like, I remember thinking they're going to put you through hell because of what you're saying and you are none the wiser. And now I'm fast forwarding, they're putting him through hell because of what he said, and he's not, you know what I mean? It's like he couldn't have prevented it, even though he should have been able to prevent it just simply because of the energy that he was engaging in was snitching on his damn self. And everybody he was with. You know, lyrics that he say, I'm not going to even repeat them. They're so damning for the man while he's going through trial, but it's like, that's the point. He was saying damning things about himself and his own people, in his own gang rather, in the song that he was singing. And now it's like they use all those lyrics, all that evidence against you. How could we not have seen this coming when this is the only way that this goes? And this is what I say about every other bad energy that we engage in. Anything that's going to ultimately put you in a position to be seen as somebody that's either a threat, somebody that needs to be taken advantage of by an opportunist, a moron more or less, seen as somebody who, you know, all kinds of different stuff that blows back poorly on you when you're not as thorough, self-conscious, self-aware, trying to check yourself in regards to your own energies. Am I doing this right? Do I have this right? Am I engaging the right energy? Is this going to blow back positively on myself and my name? Is this going to make somebody want to see me as a threat? Is this the energy that's going to turn me into the monster that somebody else needs to stop? Like all these different things that we should be considering that often the cultures we engage in don't help us understand. 14-year-old boy, if he wasn't from the era of up the pole, shoot anybody that does anything of any kind that I don't like, chances are he's going to be less likely to want to murder this man, which is less likely going to put him in a position to go to jail for murder. There's a big difference between going to jail for attempted murder and murder. You understand? You could shoot this dude in the leg, arm, shoulder, all this. You could aim for everything but the vitals and still get him off your mama and not go to jail for 50 years. But because his energy and the cultures that he engages in tell him to shoot for center mass no matter what it is, and everybody in this country is talking about you have the right to defend yourself because this person tried to punch you. Well, if he had that right, he wouldn't be going to prison for murder now, would he? See what I'm saying? We got to know what hurts us and what helps us. We got to know what cultures are going to coerce us into, falling off a cliff by our own doing. Hold yourself accountable. Yeah, I am, for not being smart enough to undo my own conditioning that was put in place by foreign entities that were catching me off guard while I was trying to use my leisure time that I was coerced into possibly using far more than necessary in the world that we're in. 6, 7, 8 hours video game, listen to music that ain't no good for us, watch TV, watch the news, puts fear in our hearts right before we go to sleep. And when we wake up in the morning, good morning, LA, everything's bad. Go out into the world and be afraid. These cultures, we got to undo so we don't find ourselves in situations where maybe we can be in self-defense situations, maybe it could be a murder situation. Nah, that culture is telling you it's always going to be a self-defense situation. It should never be a murder situation. It's meant to kill you. Just like after everything else that we pay attention to. And so that's what I'm trying to tell people, man. I didn't know if I had the right stuff rolling around in my head in regards to this story, because I've been coerced into thinking that anybody that punches my mama deserves a bullet, right? And by way of everything that everybody else is saying around the situation, I guess they agreed. And if I engage in that, I'm going to jail for murder. Now, how does that work? If they're giving me good advice, and if this is the way it's supposed to go, then how the hell is he in the jail for the rest of his life? That's what I'm saying, man. And this is something black people need to understand. Your self-defense laws, they only go from state to state, bro. I'm from a state, you can't do that. You can't do it. So we don't think you can do it. You know what I'm saying? We don't walk around saying, he punched that man, he deserved to be shot. No, he punched that man, and if I shoot him, I'm going to jail for murder. You see what I'm saying? And so when you hear people that look like you from different places where culture is normal to do certain things, you try to apply it to where you at, and you go to prison. You know what I'm saying? Listening to them and the laws that they were coerced into believing that work for them, that don't work for them either. Because when they try to apply it, it don't work. You know what I'm saying? It just don't. Nah. Go to jail. And so it's like, look, we need to find ways of living our lives naturally that don't coerce us into going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like literally. And if there ain't no way, then we need to acknowledge that there ain't no way, and then start holding those accountable who control that for not allowing for any other way if there ain't no way. You see what I'm saying? There ain't no way. Okay, somebody controls the environment. Every time we see this thing get a Starbucks on the left side of a corner, you know that they can change our environment anytime they want to. Hold them accountable for this nonsense, because they're investing in the cultures that ultimately keep us confused. I keep telling people this. I've been saying it for 3 years. 3 years I've been saying the same thing. The man in the middle coercing us into believing that this is what it should be so that we can use our energy against us and calling them demons that ultimately get us out of here. This is what it does, and it forces us into prison, forces us into cultures that get us killed, forces us into circumstances where we hate ourselves and then we ain't useful to nobody. Ain't got no compassion, no love, no nothing. It's been snuffed out of you. Cause and effect. You listen to the nonsense they told you to listen to and greed and bought into it, and the effect is what happens thereafter, which ain't no good for you 9 out of 10 times, black man. It just needs to be said, man. Black woman, same thing. All the stuff y'all doing, all the stuff they want you to do, everything they pour marketing dollars into that looks like bells and whistles, is supposed to probably end your life early. It ain't nothing about no Dr. Sebi. It ain't nothing about getting you close to God. It ain't nothing about making you healthy. None of that. No, it's about making you feel like you're not enough. You better get more money. You better do more, or you ain't gonna keep what you got. You better take somebody else's, because that's what's gonna ultimately do what exactly? Blow back poorly upon your last name, and thus make it so that people don't trust you, make it so that people want to come after you, make it so that the self-defense coming your way because you're the monster, all this different stuff that turns you into the monster that gets attacked. And then what do they get to do? Sit back and say, it's your fault. Hold yourself accountable for your actions. When they know damn well they're not being taught the same stuff we're being taught. They're not having this stuff embedded in their head during their leisure time. That's not what they're listening to. You know what they're listening to? They're listening to stuff describe us as people that they should be afraid of. That's what they're listening to. That's what they're watching. They're looking at stuff that tells them that you're a bad guy, while you're listening to stuff that coerces you into things that make you that bad person. It's all propaganda. And it's been in place for hundreds of years, which is why we can't see it. It's just culture. We're used to being treated unfairly. We're used to being treated like it's bad. Like it's okay to treat us poorly. We're used to being in situations where our environments are put in place strategically to make us less focused. The things are in place and make us less focused. Alcohol over there, bad food over there, this over there, that over there, guns all over there, everywhere, all of that. It's meant to keep you off focus. And if you're distracted by all this different stuff, distracted by all these different cultures, you'll likely either die because of this nonsense, or at the very least not rise to a space where you're competitive to them. This is what it's always been. And then they hide behind what is balanced in other areas. Well, we treat the blacks the same way we treat the LGBTQ. We treat the Asians the same. No, because we didn't start the same planes. They stole the blacks from a different place. They brought them over here, made them forget everything they learned, and they tortured them into submission over 400 years. It's not the same. But those who want to keep it as the same, or those who want to teach others that it never went down that way, will have you thinking that everything's supposed to start here. Well, a black person got treated this way, a white person get treated that way. No, it's not the same, because we didn't start from the same place. It wasn't the same psychological damage being done to your people with the intentions of keeping you down for 400 plus years. Nah, friend, we're not starting from the same place. We're not. Y'all got treated totally different, whatever that different was. It wasn't that. They're applying different things to your success or failure. Your people, they don't want you necessarily removed from the equation entirely if they didn't do all of this to you over that period of time. They're trying to remove us from the equation, obviously. And so it's more than obvious to me that all these cultures are in place to either belittle the black man's image or ultimately coerce the black man destroying himself. And my friends, I'm telling you, we influence others. So other people end up following the models that were put in place for us to destroy ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's what ends up happening. Now you got other folks trying to do the stuff we did and ultimately getting the same results. It doesn't work. That's why I'm trying to help other people understand and why you don't just sit back and watch this psychological nonsense continue, because what the blacks are going to do, your people going to do. It's just how it's been, man. It's how it's been. Once we make something hot, other people come in, try to make it hot for themselves. It just is what it is. It's not something that I think I'm supposed to be getting a trophy for as a black person. None of that. It's just what the history shows us. We start the rhythm, the others follow it. And so if we're going to be engaging in stuff that's going to get us hurt, get us killed, engaging in nonsense that's going to have us messed up, others are going to do it too, man. They're going to see it as quote unquote cool, and they're going to do it too. And that's why I tell you, this stuff doesn't end here. Just like the models of civil rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, you're going to follow what the blacks did. It's just what it is. And so that's why I'm trying to tell people, look, if you're going to follow me in any way, follow me into a space where I'm trying to unlearn nonsense within my own head, so that when you need to try to unlearn nonsense within your own head that's been established within you to kill yourself and your own people, you will know how to do that. You will know that you can do that. You don't have to just go along with what feels right because you've been coerced into something that doesn't make for you being better by way of psychological, patient application of methods. And once you understand this, then you know my thoughts may not be my own. And you got to reach into yourself, find some meditation, find some higher power, find some deeper practice that allow you to vet through all of the crap that's been placed there as a poison pill for you to have a shorter life. That's what I'm trying to help people understand. And cultures that tell you that you have a right to up your gun when someone's fighting someone with a fist, that doesn't equate to you being able to walk away with that, with your freedom. And if it doesn't, that means it's going to stop you from being able to be a father, a mother, or whatever the case may be. You're going to be in a cage for the rest of your life because you followed what you thought was what everybody else said was okay. Yeah, for sure. I'd have shot him too, and you would have been in jail too. And so this is where it comes down to. It's like, look, the laws that we live in do not align with our morals in a lot of cases, and they get to funnel people into the jail system by way of that, just by default. Everybody believes something that's going to end in a different math answer, and that, my friends, is going to leave them with the wrong answer. That is by design. Everything is precise around here. They measure everything by the millimeter. You think they ain't got that down pat? We better grow up. People, we better evolve and grow up. Stop engaging in nonsense that's ultimately going to leave you with a shorter life. You don't get to have children, and that is your purpose most of the time. If not to raise your own kids, to be part of a village to raise others. And you ain't going to be a part of that village. They keep picking away all the best soldiers with bad math and bad culture. We eat bad, die early, don't get to raise our kids fully. Engage in bad content, bad energy, pass away early, end up in jail early, kids get raised by themselves to do the same dumb stuff we did. It doesn't stop. The people who are in position to stop it won't stop it because they benefit from it greatly, and I'm tired of it. And you should be tired of it too, regardless of what race or creed or group you most identify with. You should be sick of this because it tumbles forward to destroy you and yours. And that's what I come to understand. So please, everybody, understand, I don't think I'm much better than that young fella walking in there shooting that dude, but I also believe I would have found myself as an example of why not to necessarily let that be something that I do. Not necessarily. Why? Because at the end of the day, I don't want both myself and my mother to go to prison for the rest of our lives. We got to find another way. We got to find another way that doesn't end up blowing back on us. Find another way. That's all I'm saying. If it's gonna lead to you having taken the worst of it, it's not what you want to be doing. We gotta find something else. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to willingly walk into a prison cell, why do anything at all that's gonna cause any damage? Just skip all that and just walk into the prison cell. You're going. Why even do the damage that's gonna cause more trouble? Just go there first. Get the shelter that you need. You know what I'm saying? Get the time away from having your responsibilities to do anything in life. Just tell them you did something you didn't do and let them put you away for it. You know what I'm saying? If that's your goal, because that's all the end game gonna be for a lot of stuff we do. That's the end game. If we're lucky enough to survive it, we get to spend the rest of our lives in prison. That's the prize. So if that's the prize, you don't need to do nothing to earn that prize. You can go tell them something. You can tell them anything, they'll lock you away. They want everybody they can get. They want everybody they can get. You don't even have to do nothing. Just say, yo, I need shelter. I'll punch you in your foot. Put me in jail for a year, because that's what I'm going to get. If that's what it takes, you ain't got to do all that evil stuff. If the goal is to get in jail, but if the goal ain't to get in jail, which I know it ain't for a lot of us, it ain't to go to jail, then we need to stop doing stuff that ends up leading us to jail. Stop doing stuff that leads everybody else to jail that we see and then follow them off the cliff like a damn lemming. Enough. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that story, man. Homeboy was calling on his own demons, just like I say in regards to King Von, and that same aggressive energy left them both without their loved ones to love them in the flesh, and that ain't all right. That ain't all right. I don't know of this guy. I don't know if he had any kids. Obviously, he looked like he was not raised right. If he gonna raise his fist to a woman that ain't about to do nothing to you physically for any reason at all, ain't nothing coming out of her mouth that should have gotten her punched, ain't nothing going in your mouth by way of that food worth going through that process of any kind. There's a million places to eat. He should have got out of line, but he was out of line, and that's ultimately why he ended up without his life. I want to send condolences to his family, his mother, his whoever's still remaining behind him. I hope that they didn't teach him that this was going to get him anything less than this. Because all he now is going to be for the rest of us is an example for why we shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Why we shouldn't even let our souls get to a space where we think it's okay to punch on anybody without thinking that the worst could happen. Especially if it's going to be somebody who can't defend themselves. Especially if you're a grown black man punching on a black lady. You know our community's not going to look at you fondly. And if we have a gun to defend her, especially if she happens to be our mother's, that is what we're going to end up doing. And it's going to tumble forward however the law in the country allows. However the law in the country allows. Because while you think you're right, the country doesn't think you're right, and they're going to put you in jail right along with everybody else who did what you did. So that is what it really comes down to. I don't think jail is a good place for a 14-year-old boy trying to protect his mother. And that's just all of what that man's energy tumbled forward for everybody, including himself. Death for him. Boy's life gone. Mama life gone with murder charges as well. I swear on my grandmama energy, did all of that to all of them. I swear on my grandmama knock you out. Those were demons that intended to take 3 lives that day. You got to understand what's inside of you when you engage in that. That's demons that want to kill you and take 2 other lives with you. Do you know that when you engage in that energy? When I think about King Von, I bring it up again. He going over there swinging. He's sitting there seething in the car and just decides, I'm going to get out the car in a fit of rage and beat the hell out of this dude. That energy took his life, took the person who essentially shot him, depending on how this goes with Lil Timmy's court case could potentially take little Timmy's life, could him in prison, got Quando Wando and all the trauma that came from that toward him and everybody around that situation who was traumatized to see it. King Von's kids out without they daddy. All of this from King Von's rage energy, the demon inside that said, I'm going to lash out and leave myself vulnerable for what comes with that. It beat you up and everything you love way more than it did to damn Quando Rondo. Quando Rondo walked away from that situation. What did he even have a bloody lip? King Von's rage only destroyed him and what he had going on. That's it. It didn't do nothing else but rob him of his future. Rage, inner strength. I'm the biggest. I'm the angriest. I'm in a casket. Because that's what ends up happening. And if you can't align your mind with unconditioning the nonsense that's going to allow you to fall into that snap or that rage or that I don't care no more, I'm confused about what's going to bring me the best energy, I'm just going to lash out, believe you me, you are going to find consequences similar to what Vaughn did and what homie in the restaurant did. You're going to find consequences that steal not only your life, but the people who do what they do to you, life, your loved ones, who ultimately have to live without you, and how that trauma tumbles forward into their lives. All of it. Created by them inner demons. Them inner haters that we never want to challenge. We want to challenge everybody else's demons, as if our acknowledgement of that hate ain't hate in and of itself. A lot of the time meant to make us feel worse about ourselves and derail us from positive thoughts that will help us pulling forward against that hatred and more so being cognizant of the love around us, which can have the opposite result as hate. But we ain't going to engage in that. We're going to let our ego, we're going to let our pride, and we're going to let all that low frequency stuff that ultimately manifests that rage and that jealousy and that hate and that stubbornness and all that other stuff that ultimately allows for our demons to get in the room, so to speak. Yeah, we need to do something about all of that at its root, so that when we get to a point when we're faced with those either or, you're not thinking about what's going to ultimately kill you. You're thinking about how best to strategically keep yourself alive and not tumble forward anything that would otherwise let those demons celebrate your demise. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.